trying to force other people to realize that it's an enlightened yogi in them. When do you have time to meditate? Do you see the point I'm making? When do you have time to be in a state of peace if you're always dealing with other people's conflict? On some level, you got to give them the information and let them be. Let them evolve and grow with that information. Then they'll come to you and be like, okay, I've grown here, I understand this, I understand that. Because the fight is not with us. When Katrina came, some people warned that Katrina was coming. People was like, well, I'm just going to stay here.
No.
Now, some people could have stayed there and be like, no, I think you should leave. No, I'm staying. I think you should leave. No, I'm staying. I think you should leave. No, I'm staying. And all of them would have flooded. At some point, people had to give them that information and move along. Like I did with my mother. You know, I got off into herbs through helping my mother. That's what opened up my path to studying herb and natural medicine. But what awakened to me is that she's making a decision every time she goes in the cabinet and gets some of those pharmaceutical prescriptive medicines out the counter. That's her choice. I wouldn't put on this herb to babysit her. Do you see the point I'm making? I wouldn't put on this earth to watch her and be right there with saying, look, no, don't take that medication, don't take that medication, don't take that medication. And she's fighting every hour. She has to choose her own destiny and map that out. Because now she's still in energy from the youth that we need to be reaching, from the younger people that we need to be redirecting from that path altogether, who want the opportunity to make a conscientious choice, who now don't have to go and end up in a direction. So the best we can do is treat them equally. The youth, it's the same thing. We're not going to step up and play some gang leader with the youth. We're going to do the same thing, get them the information, make a decision. Here's the information. Same thing we do with the elders, same thing we do with the youth. Here's the information, make your decision. Because that's really what it's about. People making their own decision to do what is right. Otherwise, we might as well start a conscious police force or a conscious military. Where we're going and we're going to police people to... We heard it's called somebody's eating pork on. Right. You know what I'm saying? When somebody's taking another pharmaceutical, somebody's taking another pharmaceutical medicine, I think you need to get over there. It could be dangerous. What would be the sense of us doing that? Right. The information is going to enlighten and awaken people. Mm-hmm. Once we pull the enlightened and awakened people out of this matrix, now we create a momentum of conscious people. And we're dependent on the masses herd mentality to work in a positive direction. Once they see that, man, all these conscious people are now waking up and choosing to change their life, I can do it too. Mm-hmm. Then they're going to jump on the massive herd, just like everybody wearing Jordans and everybody wearing Force Ones. Right. Everybody's just jumping on that bandwagon. I want me some all-white Force Ones. Yeah, they got colored all Force Ones now. That's what it is now. That's, matter of fact, paint your own Force One. Right. Everybody's just jumping on the movement of what other people's doing. So once we really create a massive momentum, a massive energy off the people who've been awakened, then people are going to start changing automatically and naturally. But we can't let the negative-minded people stop us from creating momentum because we get caught up in all different vortexes and all different pockets. And it's so easy to happen. When you see people negative, you sit there and you're like, I'm going to go back and forth with you for 5 years. No. You let them be. If in that time you could have went and hit 10,000 people in the same time. And when they see that 10,000 people change their lives, and they're like, man, maybe I should change my life. Because think about it. People did not even see, was not even on The Secret until it came out on Oprah. The Secret was out 5 years before it came on. So they caught on to the momentum of something that had already been. But if you had bought The Secret to the same people, then now they're interested in it because it was on Oprah. They're like, I don't want to hear that.
It was in DVD at the store now.
Come on. It was underground. But now if you go to the same people that didn't see it on Oprah years back, they're like, that's against God, that's against Christianity. But since Oprah condones it, it's in massive consciousness, now people, they're interested in it. Well, how did it get to massive consciousness? That's the real question. You know how it got to massive consciousness? People like us was out there distributing it, getting it to people who could appreciate it, and then the appreciation of it grew to reach massive consciousness. It ain't that they were sitting out there arguing with people about The Secret and how true it was. They just gave it to people, kept pushing it out to people who could appreciate the information. And by constantly doing that, it caught on. And it started spreading like the Chicago fire. And everybody's talking about The Secret. Have you seen The Secret? Have you heard of The Secret? The truth is, for conscious people, it was never a secret to begin with. We already knew that. That was common sense. Matter of fact, it's old information. We already had that. But to them, it's something new. It's a secret. So my point is that once we start just adding on positive to positive, finding people who want to hear this information, we always think of that it's a massive fight to get this information out. And that has come from our old religious schools. You know, that says we got to debate. You get your Bible, I get mine. You get your Quran, I get my Quran. I get my holy book, you get yours. Them from the old school, religious schools of thoughts. That it's going to be some type of argument, and it's going to be some type of theosophical or theological clash in order to get our information out. But in reality, we want to move like a thief in the night. Do you see what I'm making? We're not trying to argue with nobody about your religious doctrine, your religious information. We're not going to get stuck there. We're going to find the people who want to grow and want to expand their consciousness, and we're going to hit them. But what the disagreeable people are going to find out is that those conscious people is everybody. Do you see what I'm saying? That's your whole block. It's only small individual. It's only this individual or that individual that doesn't want to grow. But the majority of people want to grow. That's why can nobody really stay in the music industry. After they do 2 albums, they fall. Why won't they stay up? They're still good MCs. They're still good musicians. Why do their albums sink? Because consciousness always wants to expand itself. The people want something new. They want to grow. Do you see the point I'm making? They want new personalities, people with new thoughts, with new ideas. So they don't want old people with old ideas. That's why you can only keep 2 to 3 albums out. The dress code keeps changing, the styles and the fads. Why is that? Because people constantly want something new. They want some new information, some new energy. They want an opportunity to evolve. So that's what the majority of people do. So these religious institutions really don't have the power to control the minds of the masses of people anyway. Because if they did, we would live in nothing but 100% Christian society. Or we would live in nothing but 100% Islamic society. Or Catholic society. Or a society based on Judaism. Or Buddhism. Why do these societies not penetrate and control the masses of the people? Jehovah's Witnesses, Amish people, Quakers. Why don't they control the masses of our people? Because our people are constantly trying to grow and expand and looking for new ideas. So they can if they wanted to. So us arguing with them is giving them really more power. And giving more power to those illusions than they really have. They don't have any power. It's really no such thing as a person being a Christian. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a person being a Buddhist. There's no such thing as a person being a Muslim. Now I know that sounds deep. People are always evolving. It's nowhere written in nobody's atoms, in nobody's subatomic particles. It's not written in their atoms that they are a Christian. It's not written in their subatomic particles that they are Muslims. It's not written in their subatomic particles that they are Buddhists. So no one can really be a Christian, a Muslim, or Buddhist. What they are is energy. It's organic energy that is constantly transforming and evolving based upon its environment. You see them making a whole bunch of other factors in. So nobody's stagnant. Nobody's at a point where they cannot grow. People who thought with Katrina thought they were Christians and Muslims, but they found out that they was really dead when Katrina hit. So what were you? Were you dead or were you a Christian? So you're always in organic. We're organic as life. Our existence is inseparable from the life's processes. And life is always in process. The earth is always revolving around the sun. There's always movement and motion. So for somebody to sit and claim a stagnant state of existence, it should not be a science. You can't say you're a Christian. Was you a Christian when you were sitting up in the bar? Drinking fifths? You know what I'm saying? Was you a Christian or Muslim when you were sitting up there looking at that pornography? Was you a Christian and Muslim? You know, when you was fornicating and committing adultery and all these other acts? Were you a Christian at that moment? Is that what a Christian would have done? So how are you a Christian? At what point in a period can somebody be a Christian or Muslim? All you can be is an organic process called life. And we try to stagnate that, captivate that, and get a snapshot and say it's a Christian or it's a Muslim. When none of these things ever came out of no woman's womb. A Christian never came out of a woman's womb. A Muslim never came out of a woman's womb. A human, organic life process came out. And they went and overlaid these old new concepts on organic life. And now we're believing it. We're buying into the institutions when we think somebody's a Christian because they said it. You know, a man can say he's a woman and dress up like a drag queen. Does that mean he's a woman? You could say anything about yourself. But what makes it true? Is it true because all these institutions has put a stamp on it? When I look at people, I don't see Christians or Muslims. I used to when I was a part of that matrix. I just see human beings that can't help but to grow. Do you see the one making? Some people, they get to situations and say, they might have cancer. Then they got cancer now. Now they're like, man, I want to learn about yoga, meditation, and herbs. Man, I want to learn about voodoo, how I can heal myself. They become open-minded. The same person that said they was a Christian is open-minded now. Do you see the point I'm making? The same person that said they are a Muslim is going to study in the bush while the voodoo doctor is trying to come up with a cure for them. The same person that spoke against voodoo, when they experienced the organic process of life, they said, well, you know what? I thought I was a Muslim, but now I'm one who desires to be healed. So let me see the voodoo doctor. Whoever can heal me, bring them to me. You see the point I'm making? So my point that I'm making is nobody is a Christian. That's what they want us to believe. They don't want us to see human beings no more. They want us to see ideological constructs. That is the reality of the matrix. When you don't even see living life anymore, you see concepts. When you see somebody walking down the street, you see a concept. You don't even see a breathing, existing being. You see Christian, he Christian. He a Muslim. What are you looking at? Concepts. If they get hit by the car, what are they? When they cross the street. That person got hit by the car. Do you understand what I'm making? But if you're so busy focusing them on being a Christian or being a Muslim because they look like one, you might not see that car coming and help them keep from getting hit. Do you understand what I'm making? Because you were so busy seeing ideological concepts, you didn't see a human being that was walking out in traffic. Do you see the point I'm making? You saw a Muslim or a Christian. And the first thing came to your mind is all your theological concepts about being a Muslim and a Christian. And here it is, this person got to get hit by a car. But if we drop all that and deal with the reality and deal with the truth, then we've been able to save that person's life. Do you see the relation? Because we wouldn't have been lost in the ideological realm. So my point being is all that stuff has to be done away with. If you still seeing people, you seeing Christian, Muslims, and Buddhists, no matter what they say, you're not seeing reality. Because there's no confinements, no parameters in the universe that set these things to be. When does a Christian and a Kappa or whatever, Sigma, where's the line drawn at? Or a Christian and a Mason, or a Mason and a politician. These are all thin, very thin lines. They're so thin they don't even really exist. Do you feel the point I'm making? How can you be 2 or 3 different things? You know what I'm saying? You can only be one being. But now you're a Christian, a Mason, you're a part of this sorority, you're a politician, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. What the hell are you? You're 50 damn different things. But we know that you're not 50 things. Those are all ideological illusions that you use in different environments in order to project your existence. But you're only one being. So we get to buying into those things. So by buying into them things, what happens? It's easy for somebody to come in and put the okie doke on us. While we're focusing on Muslim, Christians, and Republicans and all that stuff, somebody come real actual human beings, you won't even see them coming with their tricks and schemes. Because we see Republicans and Muslims, and it'd be a Muslim brother that would get over them. It'd be your other fellow Democrat that you put in office that get over on you. It'd be your fellow Buddhist brother that get over you, but they was able to because you believe in Buddhism. You believe in something that wasn't even manifest. Because we have not been taught to see things for what they are. We've been taught to see all these different ideological concepts and constructs. So truth is not as simple. It's first of all being able to see things for what they are. Seeing them for what they are? Well then what is the ultimate truth? Because most of our people are looking for ultimate truth. What do you have? But you know what you'll find? You'll find out that there's no ultimate truth. Truth is a constant process of seeing things for what they are. Did y'all hear what I just said? What is truth? A constant process of seeing things where they are. Truth has no time limit. There's no truth in the past and no truth in the future. Truth only exists in one place, the present moment. So as you're able in the moment to see things for what they are, you possess the truth. The ability to see things for what they are. None more, none less. The truth is not in the scriptures. It's not in the Bible. It's not in the church. It lies in your ability to see things for what they are. None more, none less. And that truth is as ever experienceable as you constantly exist. Do you see the point I'm making? But it's all inside of you because it lies within your ability to see things for what they are. I'll give you another example with how time, the illusion of time, and it says that they say that there are 7 days of the week. In reality, there's only one day of the week. But they create these concepts called Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But why did they do that? Because they could give you the illusion that something was happening outside of you. Do you understand what I'm like? They wanted you to start to believe that something's happening outside of your consciousness. Say we sit here and we don't move for an hour, 3 hours. We just sit here. Now the only way we can say that something has happened is by time. You feel like we say, well, it's 3 o'clock. As though something has actually happened. Nothing has happened. There has been no motion. But time creates one. Do you see the one? Time fills the space. So we think in the future something is going to happen. Thus we say tomorrow. We say next week or next month. Do you understand what I'm making? But that's an illusion. Because if it does not happen right now, it will never happen. So they use time to what? Slow us down. Because now we can wait for time in order to do things. Do you understand what I'm making? Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? This is a part of the illusion. I'm bringing y'all out the matrix. So now we think that somehow time is going to make something happen. And time doesn't make anything happen. Time fills the empty space where nothing happens.
Why put off now, or why put off later? You can do it now.
Simply said, there is no time. That's one of the matrices that we got to step out of. Is that if you give it time, you have nothing but constant motion. And you have the power to produce actions that can immediately create the reality you want to manifest. But they had to give us time. Because that will make us passive and we can sit and look at the clock. See what month it is. See what new year it is. It ain't no new year. You still the same person that you was. And you still probably in the same place that you was at. What's new about it? You know what could be new? Your next action. That's the new year. Do you see the point I'm making? Your next action is the new moment. Your next perception is the new reality. Do you see what I'm making? But we don't live off the constant knowing that our perception is our reality. We live off of what time is it. Give me an example. Somebody always come to me and they ask me, I know they're running late. And they ask me, what time is it? I was like, it's time for you to get to where you need to be at. If I told you what time it was, I would be wasting time. I'm wasting your motion or your movement to get to where it is you need to be. The fact that you know what time it is, it doesn't mean you're going to get there any faster. You're only going to get there by getting there. So once we get rid of time altogether and start focusing on just getting there, then we will be totally outside of the matrix. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Even the concept of time slows us down because it creates a false sense of progress. You say, well, I'm 28 years old. Bullshit. I'm walking you all out of this tonight. I hope y'all ready for this. Or you say, I'm 30 years old. No, you're not. What has made you old? The movement of a hand on the clock? What has made you old is because you've been so lazy, you've been looking at the clock and not moving. Do you understand what I'm saying? Time does not produce age. Your perception and your reaction to your perception causes you to age. Listen to what I'm saying. You're not 30 years old. They told you that. Do you feel the point I'm making? You are as healthy as you can move. Y'all don't hear me. You're as healthy right now as your mobility. You could see someone who they say is 30 years old, but if they're walking like this, And according to how they look, you're going to say you got to be about 50 or 60, right? But they're not. So you determine someone's vitality by their mobility. Do you see what I'm making? But we've been told that time is age, that we're this many years old. But we ain't went nowhere. And that's the problem why we're so old, because we haven't went nowhere. We have not done enough. Because we have been sitting back looking at the clock. So when we go now and say that you're not 30 years old, some of you are like, no, I know I'm 30. The mind is grasping to that. Because that's our excuse to not move like you're 15. Do you see what I'm making? The fact that you believe you're 30, you can't move like you're 15. And they gave you that concept. But if you go over to Jamaica, or you go over to Belize, you see people moving like they're 15 and they're supposed to be 30. Because that shows you the illusion of time. So we're choosing to deal with motion or movement versus time. Because the reality is inside of the movement, not inside of the clock. Your life and your destiny is inside your movement, not the clock. Y'all hear what I'm making? That's God. Your destiny is not inside of the clock, it's inside of your movement. It's inside of your movement right now. Some of us are moving like we're 50 years old. Right now. But they told us that we was 30. Some of us are moving like we're 80 years old. And they told us that we was 30. We need to speed up our movement. Because that movement is going to create the reality of our people. If we all moving like we 70, ain't going to be no big movement. Y'all know what I'm saying? Because the movement is dependent on those who move and how they move. Y'all know what I'm saying? So that means we're going to have to start moving differently and not moving in his time. Because if we're moving in his time, we are thus slaves. Because a slave is a time. It's 24 hours a day. There's only so much you can do in a day. That's a slave. But everything that you can do, or you're limited to doing within 24 hours, is a slave. Because now it's going to take time for this to happen. Mao liberated China within 50 years. You go talk to a nationalist, they say, oh, it's going to take us 1,000 years to change the condition of our people. You know why that is? Because we don't understand time. That means the way he sees reality is not going to amount to the liberation of our people. Period. That means we got to come out of reality even the way he sees time. Because we're governed by his time. And his time keeps him in power. His time is his movement. He moves from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You see what I'm saying? That's how he moved. He moved from 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, lunch break. You feel me? That's his movement. In the evening, he's evening out. That's his evening. But when he evening himself out, we need to be maximized. You know what I'm saying? His evening needs to be our maximum. Y'all know what I'm saying? So we have to get off his time, period, if we want to become liberated. That's the first step. Because we're on his time clock. That's why when you work for him, you punch in. Why? So, because that's what slavery is being, on his time. Y'all don't realize how deep this is.
They'll tell you that at the job, you're on my time.
Come on. Because if you're on your time, you're part of his mind. Because he made his time up. He made that up. To keep you enslaved. To keep, if you move like him, you're giving power to him. That's why when you go to people and you say, they like, you know, come see me after work. Come see me on check day and payday. And if you look at all of his systems, y'all don't hear me. I know this sounds a little far-fetched. They're all tied into his time. Because you got to wait till this person get paid, which is going to be on the time. It's going to be the 1st, the 3rd, the 15th, or Friday. They still got us on times, on his time. So his economic system is inseparable from his time system. And the way he moves is inseparable from his system of time. The reality he creates is inseparable from his movement. If we move like him, we create his reality. You follow the point I'm making? we move different from his reality, we give birth to our own. Bottom line. There's no way we're going to be on his time and our time. His time works for him. I'm going to pay you on Friday. We send more police officers out because we know people get paid on Friday. Do you understand what I'm saying? His whole system evolves around his time. He has fortified and secured the existence within his time frame. He knows how people are going to move because he set the time. Movement should create time. Time should not govern movement. Do you understand what I'm saying? You should tell what time it is by how we move, not by what the clock says. You see what I'm saying? If somebody runs up on us, it don't matter what time it is. The movement is enough to determine what the next action is going to be. So in reality, movement should determine time. Time should never determine movement. Y'all know what I'm saying? But he gave us this matrix. Because now we're moving in his time. So our freedom is an entirely different time zone. It's entirely different movement. It's entirely different rhythm. We have our own rhythm. And there's power in that rhythm. Do you see what I'm saying? And there's sovereignty. Because his rhythm won't allow him to capitulate in that area. You see what I'm saying? His frequency doesn't allow him to get you there. Because he's in this time. You in between the notes. You understand what I'm saying? If he's playing that song, he couldn't mess with Monk. Do you see what I'm saying? Because Monk didn't play on his time. Monk played whatever the hell he wanted to play, really. If you listen to some of Monk's jazz, of Thelonious Monk. He was on a whole other time zone with his music. So our sovereignty and the power that we have is not in his time. It's in our time. And when we're operating inside of our time, inside of our natural movement, inside of our natural rhythm, which is our natural connection to the universe, he can't even get us there if he wanted to. Because all his energy does is enforces his own movement in time. They say, well, man, if there's 100 people out distributing on a Monday, his time ain't even prepared for nothing like that he didn't know about. They're not even capitulating. Monday is slow. What the hell are we going to do? What the hell is happening on a Monday? He's not prepared for that. You understand what I'm making? But if you go out on a Friday, well, they know everybody's going to get paid. They're out looking for peddlers and you understand the point I'm making? So let me just show you how his system is set up to reinforce the time. That's why they want people on that time. Christmas, and they create these holidays. They don't create holidays because they believe in religion. They create holidays so that they can incorporate people into their time zones, into their time references. We think the only way we're being identified is by our Social Security card. We're being identified by the time of which we move in. You know how they said they time a thief? Or they time a criminal. So when the full moon come out, they know that the criminals are probably going to return back to the crime scene. Have you ever heard that before? Mm-hmm. They said whenever it's a full moon, the criminals are probably going to return back to the crime. So they send out their investigators to go back to the scenes of crime when the full moon come out. I learned that because I took a forensic class, in investigating murders.
Word.
And that's what they got that from psychics, because they have certain psychics working on different murder cases. And they said the person is probably likely to turn to the scene of crime when the full moon is out. So my point that I'm making is that they have us on a time zone. And by us functioning within that time, they got that in control. That's home court advantage. You got to give up their time. They move by day, we move by night. You feel what I'm making? We got to be where they're not at. That's a whole other rhythm. We got to be a step in between. We got to be at the place where when their feet move, they didn't even think their foot could move in that place. Y'all know what I'm saying? But that is what it is. It's about time zones. Because it's all connected. That's what makes it a matrix. The way the times are connected. The way the times are operating. So we got to step out his timetable and start moving within our own movement. So people say, well, next week or tomorrow. No such thing. Period. There's no tomorrow. If there is a tomorrow, then everything is in tomorrow. Y'all don't hear me. If there is a tomorrow, then everything is in tomorrow. If there is no tomorrow, then everything is in tomorrow. If there is a tomorrow, then everything is in tomorrow. If there is a tomorrow, then everything is in tomorrow. Y'all don't hear me. If there's no tomorrow, then everything must happen when? Today. But wouldn't your belief in tomorrow work for you or your enemies? Who would it work for? Because you hear people saying that. Tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. It don't really exist. Because tomorrow's not going to bring anything. Tomorrow doesn't really even exist. Nothing's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to have an excuse to do nothing. You feel me? Time gives people an excuse to excuse doing nothing. If you're so busy moving, you really don't even have no idea what time it is. You really don't even care. If you're really in the movement. Have you ever been building with somebody and you've been talking for so long, you're like, dang, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. What the heck? Because you stepped out of his time. You stepped out of time. And you went fully into the movement. You were so busy into the movement of what's going on. You didn't need the conceptual framework of time. That's what a movement is. A movement is when we step out of his time and create a whole movement where we're moving. They say, well, this is supposed to be Christmas now. It's supposed to be this. And I'm going to go farther. They say, this person's supposed to be a Christian. This person's supposed to be that. Don't believe it. These people are nothing but opportunities and potentials. Nothing's crystallized or Christianized. Do you see what I'm making? Everything is in a liquid state. So to go be walking around seeing solids, that means their social engineering have worked upon us. We're seeing solid states in the liquid environment. You see what I'm making? You stand in the Nile at 80 degrees and you see ice cubes. Something's wrong. There are no solid states. There's no such thing as a Christian. You feel what I'm making? Because when you got so many forms of Christian, you got so many people doing whatever they want to do. By the time you get from Baptist, Pentecostal, to evangelists, to Mormon, to Amish, to you get through all the types of Christians that they are, you got people doing whatever it is they feel like. And you know what? You can pick your church. Y'all know what I'm saying? Because they do what you feel like doing. So what is Christianity when you can find a church of people that agree with whatever you feel like talking about? I didn't agree with that pastor. It didn't matter whether it was true or not.
Right.
You didn't agree with him. I ain't like his wife. I stopped going to that church. So you tell me, what is a Christian? Is it a social club or a social network of people? A dating club? What is it? There's no such thing as a Christian. You say somebody say they're Muslim, but you go through a different type of Muslims. The Sufis, the Wahhabis, the Sunnis, the 5%ers, the Moorish Americans, the Shiites. When you keep going through all these different forms of Muslims, you get to scratching your head. Well, what exactly is a Muslim then? Since you can be a Muslim and these Muslims, they eat pork, and these Muslims pray 5 times a day, and these Muslims don't, and these Muslims do what they want to do, and these Muslims... What is the hell is a Muslim? You can do it the same thing with Buddhists. You got Tibetan Buddhists, Zen Buddhists, Buddhist monks. By the time you get through going through all the Buddhists, you see that thing. What really is a Buddha? I'm confused about this thing. Only if you shut one-track minded, and you shut all light out of your reality, can you accept one of those religions. Because they force you not to see all the hypocrisy. You understand? They force you not to see all the other sects of the religion. You have to become closed-minded to even be a part of any of those religions. But once you see that there's so many different types of Christians, and you get to debate with them, and you say, well, your point sounds good, Mr. Evangelist, and your point sounds good, Pentecostal. That's a very interesting point, Baptist. And by the time you get through with all that, you say, well, which one of these is true? Well, I'll go with the Hebrews. Then you see a different type of Hebrews. Some Hebrews is black nationalist Hebrews. They say, we don't eat no meat, we only grow natural. Then you got these Hebrews that eat kosher meat. And you got these people over here that just say they're Hebrews. And they don't do none of it. They don't even speak the Hebrew language. They just read the Old Testament talking about they're Hebrews. Then you got some people say they're Hebrews and Rastafarians that don't even read the Bible. They say they hell with the Bible. And how the hell you a fucking Hebrew or Rastafarian? So when you start looking at these different, you say, well, what is any of this? Something to believe in. It is nothing. You talking to somebody who studied and went through. I went to the Krishna temple, to the Hindu temple. I went to all of them. Studied with all of them. And found out that this is nothing. This is every other thing. When I go to the Hindu temple and see them eating slices of pizza, feeding their children slices of pizza. I say, what is going on here? We go in there as new people, eating all the Hindu food, talking about this holy food. They telling us that this Hindu food is holy food, it's prasadam. It's the food of the deities, it's been prayed over. But you feeding your little children pizza. Right in the same temple. Your children like, we ain't gonna eat that shit. We want some pizza. So they got pizza. Holidays. They got pizza being sold next to the holy food. They get giving their little children pizza. I said, this is some garbage. I could have ate pizza at Pizza Hut. You know what I'm saying? What sense does that make? When I study the Hebrews and I see they left Africa, Liberia, to move to Israel to be under some Palestinians and some Europeans, I say, what's going on here? Why would you leave an African country to be among some Europeans? Talking about that's the Holy Land. There's nothing holy about some land with some Europeans on it. So once you start studying with these different organizations, you see the hypocrisy. You study with the Nation of Islam, they say the white man is the devil, but you see a picture for Rob Muhammad and it looks like a European. Look just like a European. Look more European than Bush do. And they look like Europeans. That's how they dress. They more Europeans than some Europeans. I mean, if you send them out to South Bend, Indiana, where the poor white Europeans are at, they would be probably the new Europeans. You know what I mean? Because it's some poor Europeans in South Bend that will be like, man, just everything y'all saying is the truth. And the Nation of Islam will be like, no, brother, you need to get you a suit and a bow tie. That's all. That's the answer. So my point is that once you start looking at these different organizations, you start to see that they're weak. That no one's pretty much that. When you see that some of these leaders, daughters are Hebrews, and you go into Hebrew society, you see some of the Hebrews' children are Muslims, and you see how all these different organizations merge together. You start seeing what the difference is. You see the lines start to become thinner the deeper that you get into them. You say, well, why is your father the head of the Hebrew community, but you over here, you're a Muslim? And why are the Muslims over here with the Christians at the church teaching? And why you start seeing that they're just basically all one. But those separate thoughts have been spoon-fed to us. So that we would see Christians and see this, and we don't see our beautiful people all the time. We don't see our beautiful divine people. We see Christians and Muslims and all that. And if you want Christians and Muslims in Africa, how are you going to be a Christian and Muslim today? Whatever you was must be. A tree by any name is still a tree. Grass by any name that you call it in any language is still grass. And us, by any other name you put on, we still going to be us. So we can release all those titles and different names and start to love the divinity of who we are. Even if our people choose to temporarily associate with those different titles or different classifications, we're still all one people. Because we might say we're Christian or we're Muslim, but what are we when we all at the Arab store waiting in line? Well, what are we then? The Muslim is waiting in store with the Arabs. The Christian is waiting in store with the Arabs, and so is the Buddhist. And so is the gangbanger. We all under the Arabs for our groceries. So come on. What's the relevance of all these different religious and separate views if our physical and economic life is dependent on people outside of our cultural reality anyway? So my point is that religion has all these religious and views that produce separatism. The educated from the uneducated and the rich from the poor. All that stuff is what they gave to us to separate us. They gave us all these different concepts so they could fit us in small little brackets that they felt comfortable with and that we are not willing to step out of so we can unify to remove the oppression that they have over the masses of our people. There's no difference between the rich and the poor. They withholding a cure for AIDS for the rich and the poor. The pharmaceutical industry is trying to kill the rich and the poor. I don't see a difference. They want to sell cigarettes to who? The rich and the poor. They want alcohol to be given to who? The rich and the poor. Their mainstream TV and media is being distributed to who? The rich and the poor. What's the difference between the rich and the poor? That's some other concept that they gave us. No matter how much money you got as a so-called black person, the whole system has been set up with the service that it renders to Europeans. It's a supply and demand. They teach you that in any marketing and sales class. Who's making the most demand? The majority of people. So who's the system supplying? Those who represent the majority versus the minority. So it doesn't matter how much money you got. It's only this many amount of Asiatic doctors doing Asiatic research to cure Asiatic problems. So your $1 million, the best you can do is buy you a real arrogant European doctor that has no idea what the hell's going on with you. And you have a private European idiot who cannot figure out. Because his science has not been set up to deal with that we suffer from diabetes more than them. It hasn't been set up that we suffer more from glaucoma than him. His system has not been set up for that. His medical system hasn't. His has been set up for that European's biological model. So no matter how much money you got, he does not have the knowledge to deal specifically with you. Because his whole institutionalization was set up specifically to deal with Europeans. It's only a few doctors that are specialized in what you call African American health. They're few and number. So there's really no difference between the rich and the poor, the Christian and the Muslim. All those are just different titles. We can let that stuff go. Somebody come and ask me, like, are you a Christian? Are you this? Are you that? The cops and police that will brutalize you are Christians. The military is filled with Christians and Muslims. What does it matter whether you are Christian or Muslim? It doesn't. Those titles, let them go. All religious titles, and even the so-called spiritual movement. You know, it's not just spiritual about doing what's right. You tell somebody you're a vegetarian, they're like, oh, you one of those spiritual people. No, I'm not. I care about my code. It's nothing spiritual about that. But you see how people get lost and they start creating new brackets? You tell them, you know, I'm going to try to start eating at least 40% raw foods. Oh, man, you on that spiritual movement, ain't you? You know, you with the New Ages. No, I'm not. I'm just concerned about my health, which you should be. But you see how they go and mystify everything and try to create a mystery God to it? There's nothing spiritual about doing what is right. There's nothing religious about that. If you want to exist on the highest level on the physical plane, you better be interested in doing what's right, whether spiritual or not. You can find out about what's spiritual and religious after you leave the earth. There won't be no argument about who God is. There will be no argument about the existence of God and whose religion is right. We all will have the exact right answer on that day. But until then, I'm more concerned about my existence on the physical earth, creating the highest quality for myself and for my people, because that's what I see the European doing for himself. So if that have to be my spirituality and my religion, so be it. That's my religion and my spirituality, creating a high and divine state of existence on the earth while we're here. Not to achieve some divinity, be it in the sky after I die, or try to achieve some divinity within myself while I'm out here living in hell in the physical world. I've experienced my kundalini is up, but I'm out here living in a total state of utter poverty. But my kundalini is worse than all. I don't see that. Or that I'm some type of crackhead that have used some type of drugs to achieve some type of enlightenment, but my whole body is physically withering away. That don't make no sense to me. So I'm not trying to achieve any enlightened state that cannot be quantified through the material quality of life. You follow me? I'm not interested in that. If it doesn't manifest itself in quality of physical human life, I'm not interested in it. I can deal with the spiritual world when I get there. I don't have to try to astral project myself into the enlightened world. When I leave this earth, what do you think I'm going? If there's an enlightened world, I'll be there. So why did I come here? Did I come here just to just come here and just, let me get spiritual? No, I got here because I was tired of the spiritual shit. I said, let me get on earth. You feel me? Well, I can see some trees, breathe some oxygen, feel the planet Earth. You feel what I'm making? So why would I come here to try to rush so quickly out of here? But that's how people who bring the spiritual knowledge make it. You know, you need to get enlightenment. You need to get in tune with your higher self, and so you can go to heaven and nirvana, and, you know, enlighten as a spiritual being. I came here to experience the divinity on earth. I don't have a choice when that day comes. When I'm going to be in every enlightened plane you can imagine. So I didn't come as just to rush through this thing. Let me get deep and let me get meditating and forget the earth and forget the material world. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to manifest divinity in the physical world, in the physical manifest. And not the illusion of divinity That's materialism and consumerism. Or not the illusion of divinity, which is drug addiction and addiction to material substances. That's an illusion of divinity. Because no true state of divinity would have you attached to any material thing. No true divinity would have you. There's people talking about, I was arguing with a person about smoking weed. And they tell me, there's nothing wrong with smoking weed. You God, you smoke the weed and it don't really bother you because you're God. I say, if you're God, what do you need to smoke the weed for? If you're God, you can manifest the enlightened state within your existence on your own. And you ain't got to pay somebody $10. Pookie G. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't got to support the neighborhood gangsters in order to get high. If you God, you already high. Is that right? But still, man, everybody got their thing. You got to smoke your weed, you chief up. I said, I don't chief, I am the chief of my experience and my destiny. So I don't need that. Because marijuana has already been here, as far as I'm concerned. It's here thousands of years before me. I'm just here. I don't want to be a vessel for marijuana. It's already used enough people. It's people been smoking it for the last 10 million years and getting the same high. I want to do something different. I don't want this old ancient spirit called marijuana to just take my vessel. Do you understand the point I'm making? I want to know my own, know thyself. So how to know thyself if I'm getting the same high that people got 3 million years ago? I said, after I leave here, somebody else can pick up that same weed and get the same high. And have the same elusive state of enlightenment or highness. But no one will ever be able to pick that weed up and be me. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So there's something unique about me being here that's not unique to that weed or that herb. Because that herb's going to be here. We're new to this planet. So we bring something new that cannot be achieved through any substance in the material world. But it's something to be brought to all of it. And that's the knowledge of self. When you start realizing the divinity that you bring to this reality. Not what you're trying to get. I'm trying to get high. No, you already have come from on high. Y'all hear what I'm saying? That's where you came from the plane of the high. So you already are bringing that which is from the high to the earth, to the material world. And that is to manifest in our lives. That state of being high is supposed to manifest by who we are and what we're being out of the right knowledge of who we are. So we don't need to smoke no weed or no mushrooms or drink no alcohol. Because those are we're all borrowing. That's why they call alcohol spirits. Because we're borrowing spirits when we do that. Because our spirit is not strong enough. We haven't strengthened our spirit to project the reality of God onto the earth. So we need to borrow a spirit. Borrow a self. Do you see the point I'm making? Take on the consciousness of a plant life. Because the consciousness of our human life has no quality to it. So that's my highest goal. I want to become a plant. Do you understand what I'm making? That's my highest goal, is to smoke a plant and take on the consciousness of a plant. If the Creator wanted me to be a plant and see things the way plants do, then He had manifested me as a plant. But He didn't. He manifested me as a human so that I could see and deal with things the way humans are supposed to. So that's why I say there's no need for me to be smoking no weed. I'm not paying nobody for that. That's given. So our people, under auspices of just smoking weed to be spiritual, they are being exploited by people who are capitalizing and making money off of it, just like crackheads. It's no difference. The same person that's selling the crack is selling the weed. Literally. The same people that are bringing cocaine in on shipments are bringing in shipments of weed. What's the difference? If there's no difference, why is the same person selling it? Tell me it's not a drug. Well, why are you buying it from drug dealers if it's not a drug? Weed ain't no drug. It's just that's an herb. But you ain't getting it from the herb. You're getting it from a drug dealer. Why? Because there's a drug here. And if it's not a drug in its natural state, it's certainly the drug over here because they are about capitalism. They want to make money. So they will put whatever they can in that weed to keep you coming back. So you think you're smoking weed and you're not. You're smoking cocaine, angel dust, whatever else they can sprinkle on it to make sure you come back a little more than you regularly would. Why? Because they want money. Because they want new Nikes and new Jordans and new gold chains. Y'all know the game. So whatever we got to do to step this weed up to come back. So a lot of people you see out here that are actually walking around crazy literally did get a hold to some bad weed. That's all that happened. Somebody put something else in the weed, experimenting, and literally blew their minds. So you have to be careful with your consciousness, what you open up your consciousness to. by what you ingest into your physical body. You have to be careful with that. It's very important. But you don't have to be so careful when you can appreciate what's already inside of the vessel. Because there's no poison inside of you. But you can ingest it. Do you see what I'm like it? You can intake some poison. But if you don't mess with any of that stuff, you ain't got to worry about the quality of it. Is this the real stuff? Now, if you're in Jamaica walking around in the bush and ain't got nothing to worry about, and even I question some of those people over there. Because if you just walk around smoking weed all day, there's no way that you're prepared to deal with the situation and reality of your people. It's not even going to be serious to you. You're going to be like, man, don't worry about it. Every time you talk to them about a very serious issue, they're going to tell you, don't worry about it. It's all peaceful. No, it's not peaceful. It's not peaceful when these British are over here making us not even be able to distribute our fruit to our own people in other places and controlling import and export and running the government and controlling the military and create corruption among our own people. And it's more of us than it is British people over there. And they still controlling our land? It ain't peace. It's not Irie. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing peaceful about that situation. And if you got to smoke weed to create that false sense of peace, and you don't see the illusion and the hypocrisy in your actions, then you're a fool. That's foolish. Your people, and you have the divine potential to be a Messiah, to change the condition of your people, and you subdue all that under some marijuana smoke. No, we don't see that. We don't see eye to eye on that. Well, I want to reach a state of spiritual high. Just do that after you die. Right here, we need you to be on point, to manifest the divinity of your existence, to change the physical state of your people, because that's what the European is doing for his people. That's what he's doing for his people. While he's physically putting things into play and institutionalizing things to keep them in power, we sitting back smoking some weed trying to get to the spiritual world. One of the problems with our people is we have really become too spiritual. We become so spiritual, it's ridiculous. We have no material use to ourselves. We let religious concepts govern our ability to guide our own destiny. That means that we can't think anymore. All our reality, we're trying to fit our present moment into the past. Every time you pick up a holy book, that's really what you're doing. You're trying to fit what's happening right now in your life into an old book that was written about something that happened in their lives. You're not thinking about your own life. You're not in the moment of dealing with your own life. You're dealing with the past under the auspices of dealing with the future. The only way you can deal with the future is to be proactive right now. Not with the past. You don't govern your households and your lives and your existence with the past. You govern it by being proactive in the present moment. If for example, I'm in an argument or I'm debating with somebody, I'm not going to get a holy book. I'm going to get away from them crazy people. Because if we can't achieve some level of harmony by communicating as civilized human beings, there's nothing there for me. No holy book is going to figure that out. You see what I'm making? Some people would not have to know what was wise or what would have been right till they died. They would be on their deathbed. Man, I should have did that. Shit. Not me. You feel me? I'm going to be in the present moment. And if I'm not going to try to use some holy book or past conversation in order to speak for me now. I can speak for myself. I can deal with truth as it is happening now, and I can react or respond appropriately in the present moment. We are those deities. That's what a deity would do. Give you an example. People, last week, I was sitting down with the high priest of the so-called at the Earth Center. That was last week or 2 weeks ago. And actually, I met up with him more than one occasion throughout the week. But we was talking about Kemetic science because he was asking me what do I think about the Earth Center and the teachings of Master Nab or the Kemetic doctrine. And what I said, which is the people that was here that left, they're part of that institution. That's why they ran, because they know I was about to hit them. What I said was that, first of all, the deities that you're worshiping, talking about they're your gods, and your ancestors that you're praying to are already here. We're here. While you praying to a statue of somebody that looked like me by another name, I'm standing right here before you. You're standing right here before you. Now, these statues are made in the image and likeness of us. We're not created in the image and likeness of God. God is made in our image and likeness. Why? Because, first of all, God is a German word. There was never no gods. I know this sounds kind of heavy. There's never no gods in no African religion, and no Kemetic religion, there was never no gods. Because the word God is a German word. They were never considered gods. There was no concept of God. There was Imhotep, there was Neteru, there was Isis, there was Aset. They were not gods. They were who they were. And if you look at the statues, they look just like us. So now if you want to come 1,000 years later and look at a picture of me and consider me to have been one of the gods, that's something you made up. I never was a god. I was noble. Do you understand what I'm making? But since the European is, we is his god. Y'all know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying? He came and worshipped us when he was allowed to come into the temples of Alexandria. When he was allowed to come into the temples in Kemet. We were his gods. Do y'all still feel the point I'm making? And he already had the concept of God before us. We didn't have a concept of anything outside of us, which is why the statues look like us. He's the one that beheld the beauty of a God. Because it was something he had never seen before when he saw a black man and a black woman. He said, man, that's God. The Native American word that is equivalent to us means strength. So even the Native Americans saw the strength in us. Because we were associated with strength. In Native American folklore, who we was strength. So you got to see when his European looked, he said, man, look at all these gods. But since we had been bamboozled out of our knowledge and out of our doctrine, now we got to go back and learn it from him. And what did he teach us? That those were the gods. And those were our forefathers. Those were us. That's why the statues have big nose. That's why y'all shot the nose of the Sphinx off. Because your God looks like us. So we was not created in the likeness and image of God. God was created in the likeness and image of us. Because we're older than God. We're older than the German language. We're older than the English language. And we're older than the Latin language. So it's no way we can be in the image of some German created concept. They never had no gods. Period. They had us walking around. You feel what I'm making? But they knew who they were and respected that us. That was us. We don't. We rather look and bow and pray down to a statue. But we'll argue with our friend. We'll argue with somebody we're in a relationship with. Nigga, you ain't shit. But then we'll go and be very comedic and bow down to a statue that looks just like the person. Do you understand what I'm making? But if a man before you sit there and say, well, I think you need to bow down. You feel me? They say, oh, you being egotistical. You ego tripping. But if I take a statue and set up there that look just like me and tell you it was 100,000 years old, you'll get down on your knees and bow down to it. Do you see the disrespect? Do you see the willing relationship? Well, just put yourself in a statue and tell me it's old and I'll bow down. You feel me? Make a statue of yourself and tell me it's over 200,000 years old, and then maybe I'll do it. I'll bow down to the statue, but you stand way over there. Matter of fact, don't stand too close, because I might see that the statue and you look too much alike, and then I might not even want to bow down to the statue. Matter of fact, knock the nose off of it so it won't look like you, then I'll bow down to it. So they studying Kemetic culture and studying the gods, our people, not realizing that the people here are those gods. We are those deities. We are those beings. With the names we have now, you say Imhotep was the father of medicine. But that's your deity. You say Akhenaten is the father of monotheism. And that's a deity. All these deities were divine beings. Do you feel the point I'm making? They were divine beings. Can I say human being? Even a human could be a lack of understanding the concept of what they were. Because man is something that they made. The human, a kind of a man, something that they created. They grafted out of the original being and came up with this thing called this European. So they're not divine beings. You understand what I'm making? They're humans or something else. Do you see what makes them even human? But we literally stood and stand in the right knowledge of ourselves as divine beings. But when we acknowledge that we're divine beings, then we deal with each other out of that reality, out of that consciousness. When we realize that. But if we say, okay, well, these statues and all these deities, that's what's divine. Look what they did in Kemet. Look what they did in Egypt. I said last week that what takes the difference? Some lemonade in Kemet or some lemonade right here in the city? Would you rather some 100,000-year-old lemonade? Or would you rather some freshly squeezed lemons? That's the only difference between us then and us in Kemet. No big difference. But we become so spiritual, so religious to say, okay, well maybe if I saw you come out of a pyramid, you'd be more of a divine person. Because the way the pyramid look around you, you would just be looking deep. Come on. Then I can respect you.
Right.
Do you feel what I'm making? When a pyramid is just an infrastructure, it's just a building that they made up. It's something they lived in. Some people live in huts, some people live in shacks, some people live in these high-rise buildings, and some people live in pyramids. It's still a building, but we just get so deep. Beside the fact, it's just a pyramid. If you ain't in the pyramid, you can't. No, you ain't no king. You got to be in the pyramid over there in Africa. You know what I'm saying? And you got to walk out the pyramid. Then I know who you are. Get the hell out of here. That's Willie Lynch. A divine being, whether you come up out of a pyramid, whether you come up out of a hole in the ground because you're at war in Vietnam, no matter what you come out of, you're still the same being. When you realize you're that being, you can come up out of a pyramid. You see the point I'm making? You can build a pyramid. But whether you have or have not built that pyramid does not determine who you are. So these people talk about Kemetic knowledge and they want to study Kemetic science, which is the same science of us working in harmony today. The only science is harmony. The only religion is harmony. Period. If you're a deep Christian and you reach harmony, they say Islam is supposed to mean peace. The connecting points between all religions is harmony. The science of harmony. Call it what you want to. But when we see a Buddhist, we probably see a peaceful person. If we see a true Muslim, we see a peaceful person. If we see a Christian person, we see a peaceful person. So what do they all have in common? Christ being the Prince of Peace. That the true science of us reacting and living and being together is in harmony. That's the bottom line. Even if people call themselves Rastafarian, they're smoking weed for what? To achieve a state of harmony. So let's get rid of all the other classifications and remember the science of peace and harmony. That's the quick way to all of them. That's the common denominator. But when we take on this religion and we argue this religion versus that one, now we've given up the science of harmony. We've given up the science of the very religion. It was supposed to produce a state of peace and a state of harmony within the person and within the society. But if we're now arguing this religion versus that one, now we've given up the harmony of the religion. How can something Islam mean peace, but there's war in Iraq, period, even before the Europeans went over there? It was the Shiites versus the Sunnis, which the Europeans used their internal war to create the war of them going over there. They turned them against one another. So if that's the case, how could that religion have ever been about peace? Because no religion is about peace. All religion is about this man being right versus that man. There is no peaceful religion. Do you see the making? Religion itself says our God. You hear people talking about my God. Since when did you have a monopoly on God? No, I don't worship. If you go and tell them that Yahweh and Allah is the same being, they'll tell you, no, that ain't my God. They'll say, my God is Yahweh. That's your God. I'm like, when is there different gods? Now that Yahweh and Allah are different beings now. So my point that I'm making is religion produces an unpeaceful state. You can be at peace. I'll give you an example. You could be at 100% total peace, and then somebody come and ask you, what is your religion? You could have been in harmony, like just really relaxed. And they're like, are you a Muslim or Christian? When you start thinking about it, you done lost your mind instantaneously. You feel what I'm making? Quickly. As soon as you start thinking about, I guess I'm a Muslim, and before you get to the end of it, you need to smoke a blunt or 5 hours of meditation. Why? Because that's what the religion does. It produces a state of peace and a state of unrest within the spiritual self of the human beings. So now we say, look, we're not dealing with religion. We're just dealing with information. Information will allow other human beings to arrive at truth on their own. Because we're saying the only result of any of your religion, studies, or research should lead you to truth. So the real religion is truth. Do you see the making? Because that's where we want to arrive at. The rest is a study. To be a Christian is to study the truth from this angle. To be a Muslim is to study it from that angle. But the real religion is truth. That's where we all want to arrive at. So now when somebody asks me what my religion is simply just the truth. I'm just dealing with the truth. I'm not dealing with these different aspects of the truth. I'm just standing in the position as truth. Matter of fact, I myself am the truth in manifest. So to ask me what is my religion is actually to not even identify what you're looking at. It's to be blind. And that's why they say people are deaf, dumb, and blind. Because the only way you will really know what somebody's religion is, or their religious activities, or their ritual is by seeing what they do. What do you do religiously? Do you see what I'm making? So you can't really come to that information until you really get to know a person to see what their real religion is. Because when somebody say they're a Christian and you see them at the bar, at the strip club that night, you feel me? And I don't mean they just visiting either. Then you be like, dang, I thought you was a Christian. You really believe that? Somebody say they're some Muslim and you see them chain smoking cigarettes. You're like, man, I really thought you was a Muslim. So the point is you can never really know somebody until you really know them. You won't know what their real religion is until you see what they do religiously. Whatever their religion is what they do over and over and over again every day. And if you smoke cigarettes, chain smoke cigarettes, you're not a Christian, you're a cigarette smoker. If you drink a bottle of alcohol every hour, you're not a Christian, you're an alcoholic. Well, I'm just backsliding from Jesus and I'm still a Christian. No, you're not. Because don't nobody backslide for their entire life. You see the one like what that backsliding is justified. So that's one of my points. Stop looking at people and seeing Christians and Muslims and seeing these different religious aspects. See human beings. Because once you see human beings, you see the opportunity to reach them and to help them elevate to true knowledge, wherever they're from whatever angle that they're coming from. But we'll say, well, we ain't going to go talk to those people because they're Christians or because they're Muslims. Then we'll put up these different barriers where we're afraid to approach these different human beings. That's what they want us to do, to be afraid to approach our people, to be scared to communicate and conversate. That's what they want. They want us to say, okay, you're a Christian, let me keep going. Now, that person will look like they'll be interested. Come on. That's what they want. So now we start, if we only can talk to people that we believe agree, ain't nobody to talk to. Because everybody's something other than what it is we may be talking about. If that's the case. So that's why if we stay there, our information doesn't reach the whole community. You know what you can expect to see at every meeting? The same people. Why? Because your paradigm doesn't have you see more people. It only have you see the people that you can identify with based upon your limited thoughts. It only because you say, well, this person's a Christian. I can't talk to them. That's a Muslim. I don't talk to Muslims. That's a Hebrew or whatever. I don't talk to those people. And what happens? You keep talking to the same people over and over again. So it doesn't expand until we can reach out and talk to all people, wherever they are, whatever uniform, or whatever point in the process of life that they're at. We should be able to go to them and bring in information and knowledge to them. So that's why we're about information and knowledge, because we can reach anybody with that. And they can look at that for themselves and make a transformation. So we're not trying to get caught up into say we have the truth. That's not our goal. Our goal is not to possess truth. That's an illusion. No one possesses the truth. The truth is as constant and as large as life is. It's one's entire life experience. So anybody coming telling you that they got the truth, they're lying to you. Right off the bat. You feel me? You can see right off the bat that this person is lying because you say, well, where's the truth at? Since you got it, let me see, is it in the bag? Where does the truth stop and start at? That's why I said the truth is your ability to constantly see what's going on. It don't get no bigger than that. There's no truth outside of seeing what's going on. But if they got you looking all in your mind at some idealistic concept, you don't see what's going on anymore. You're off in your head daydreaming about babies with wings and being off in heaven and getting on the mothership. And you don't see what's going on. And meanwhile, while you're not looking at what's going on, you're going to see they're going to be doing some okie-doke stuff on you. Under all those different religious aspects. And it doesn't mean that they have bad intentions. It's just you wasn't looking at what was going on anyway. So we got to bring our mind out of space, period, and see what's going on. As soon as somebody says, I got the truth, they automatically are projecting you into space. Because if you can't see the truth yourself, where's the truth at? It's in some intangible reality inside of your mind. It's not physical. Because if it's physical, then it must encompass everything physical. Y'all hear what I'm saying? If the truth is physical, it has to be everywhere there's physicality. And if it's physical, then it's unpossessible. Because no one possesses all physicality. So no one has the truth. Everyone is connected to, inseparable from the truth, living in, moving as the truth, but none of us possess it. After the individual that says he had the truth die, what happened? Did the truth die with him? Or is it just true that he died? No one, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, has the truth. The truth is a process. But they tell us that so we can buy into their reality. Like the doctors, like people who practice medicine telling you that they can heal you, that they're doctors, and all they can do is write you a prescription. They never could heal you. They can only what? Deal with your symptoms. Do you see the point I'm making? But they're saying the same thing. I got the truth. I can heal you. The truth is, you could have dealt with your symptoms by changing your diet and your lifestyle. But you felt like somebody had this ultimate truth. The truth that would protect you from death. Y'all want to hear me? This truth is going to protect you from death, from disease, from pain, from suffering. We're always looking for that truth. We never found it. We wanted that truth. That's what we were looking for. Let's be honest with ourselves. When we were looking for the truth, what was we looking for? Was we looking for the end-all solution to everything? What were we looking for? And somebody said, I got it. I got the truth. The end-all solution to everything is Jesus. Why are people still dying? Why is my grandmama still eating pork while she has colon cancer if Jesus is the truth and end-all to everything? Why is there still suffering in humanity if Jesus died for our sins? Why? Why is that? If you have the end all, if Buddha is the end all, or Noble Jew Ali, or any of them, Muhammad, where are the solutions if this is the end all? Truth and reality. The truth is, there is no end all reality, because this reality will never end. There can only be something ultimate. There is no ultimate in eternity. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. I know I'm going deep now. But there is no ultimate in eternity. Period. It goes on. So there's no ultimate position to say this is it. Because it's going to go on forever. This is an eternal existence. But we can embrace and utilize all that is within eternity to create a perfect man, a perfect moment. Do you see the one like that? So what we really seek to create is a perfect moment. Y'all know what I'm saying? Since this is never going to end, there's no ultimate to eternity. Even if you leave this plane, it's still eternal. Why? Because you can't see it end. And that which you cannot see end is eternity to you. You gonna make it? Can y'all see this ever end? You never saw it begin. When I say the word end, the only thing that comes to your mind is a little flash of darkness. But then that darkness is over when you see light again. So you can't even hold the thought of ending. You see what I'm making? Without seeing again. That's because there's no end. There's no such thing as that. The period. So since there's no end, which is you're going to heaven, and what, you going to be sitting around in heaven forever? Not me. I'm not going to be sitting around with no clouds and no flying babies forever for the rest of my eternity. I'm like, y'all better let me up out this nightmare. Somebody sitting there playing the cello or playing the whatever forever. Like, if you don't turn that noise off, I don't even listen to the cello or whatever it is, the harp. I need to hear some hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Put some Fela or something on. I know they're supposed to be heaven, but dang. Hell sound like it might be a little bit more better. If I got to listen to people playing the harp, at least a little fire on me to keep me going. Every now and then, you can turn the heat up or something. So since there really never is no eternity, they fed us this illusion in our mind. But if we kick that out, then we can actually conceive of the perfect moment. We can perceive of the perfect here and now. We can perceive of, we can see creating something in the here and now, on earth, that reflects our highest ideal. Because we've accepted theirs. By even thinking that that is an end period. That's the idea. We ain't never seen it. So how can it be ours? I would have never come up with that this ends. I've seen physical beings who existed here that I haven't seen again. But I don't know where they are. There's some people who've left the country that I haven't seen again. I've seen so many people to a sum that I don't even remember them. To know that I'm not seeing them anymore. You understand the point I'm making? It wouldn't be until they show back up. So I'm like, dang, okay, I think I know who you are. Right, well, you've been anyway, though.
Right.
So my point is that there is no such thing as an end. So once you get rid of that, what religion stands up after that? What religion exists after you say that? What if this shit don't end? What religion is left? Not Christianity, because you got to go to heaven, you got to be a day of judgment, the same as what's going on. So you mean that everything you do in the day is living with the possibility of a day of judgment? Not me. I'm living the day with the possibility of today. I don't live in the day of judgment coming, and all of us going to be set up in front of a lot, and then we're going to be sitting in front of the throne, and we're going to be judged. That doesn't govern my business. I've never seen that. And I know that the Prophet Muhammad came 1,400 years ago, and it ain't happened since then. Just like the Jehovah's Witnesses say the world is coming to the end, and it ain't ended yet. All of their predictions have constantly been wrong. The Hindus said the Christian is going to pull you up by the dreadlock on your head. The little ponytail that they wear, he's going to pull you up into the plane of nirvana. I haven't seen it yet. And how old is that doctrine? The Hindus are about billions and millions of years old. They're old. And if he ain't pulled none of y'all niggas up yet, what makes you think he's ever going to do it? I don't stand to believe that. But I know that we have the ability to manifest perfection in our experience now. I know that. I've done it before. I've seen that. I know what it looks like to live in harmony and to live in peace and to make the right decisions that don't lead to negative, experiences. And ain't no book come protect you for that, because you can read the book and still not do it. Or you cannot read the book and just make the right decisions. Y'all know what I'm saying? So no book is going to shield you from your ability to see truth in the present moment and make a good or bad decision. No book can have you escape that. The only way you can escape that is by making a good or bad decision in the moment. That's the bottom line. You can read all the holy books and still be an idiot. I've done it before, trust me. Read the whole book, memorized it, and still was an idiot. After I knew everything that the book said. Said, nope, I'm going to be an idiot right now. Y'all never experienced that before?
Yes, sir.
I know that, hey, man, I just got through reading that last night, and I'm going to be an idiot right now. So what good is the book? You can't hide your desire or your ability to overcome or not overcome being an idiot in a book. That's a moment-to-moment thing of saying, I could be an idiot right now, but I'm just not going to do it. It's that simple. But the book, it's no excuse. That's why people are hypocrites. Because they can't see themselves versus the books and the religions. I said, you don't have to tell me what your religion is. I can deal with whatever I got to deal with yours anyway. I'm on the earth. I got to exist. So whatever your religion is or not, I'm still going to see you. You ain't going nowhere. I'm not going to kill you. So it doesn't, I don't care what your religion is. You see, because people who have been alcoholics, and I deal with them, they on every corner. And they don't have no religion. So what is the fact that your religion going to protect me from? Y'all know what I'm saying? Is it going to protect me from Katrina, earthquakes, or... We believe that because somebody say they have this religion, or this is their religion, that they're safer to be among. Oh yeah, that's a Muslim. Yeah, that's Jim Jones. He a Christian. You feel what I'm saying? That's Charles Manson. He's a Christian too.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
GB.
Them now Al-Qaeda Muslims, so let's hang among them. Me and my Al-Qaeda buddy say we're going to get on a plane and fly to New York. Salam alaikum. You feel me? You think you just right going for the ride. Just like you in a drive-by. You in a car and they about to do a drive-by. You thought y'all was going to the store. But you better duck down for this one. You understand the point that I'm making? So just because somebody say they are religious, this or religious, that doesn't make them more safer to be among. But we believe that. That's why we want to know. What is your religion? What do you believe in? I don't want to know what you believe in. I want to see what you do. You know me? I don't care about your religion. Matter of fact, don't tell me. That way I can, better yet, see exactly what you do. You tell me your religion, I might forget for a moment and be like, man, and start to see what's actually going on. Y'all have not, I guess y'all haven't been among enough hypocrites. I've been among so many hypocrites in my life that I know how to deal with them. Like, matter of fact, don't even tell me your religion. I don't even want to know. Whatever you do, I'll just look at that and make my decision. Seriously. That's like getting a manual on a machine that you bought and saying, no, let me just try the machine out. That's the difference. Or taking the salesperson's, position on what this thing is supposed to do, and you go home and turn it on and it don't work. I said, don't even just tell me, just plug it up right here. You feel the point? That's the difference between being religious. I don't want to believe you. I know you probably got best intentions and all that, but I don't even want to believe it. Just plug it up. Well, you don't trust me? I don't even have a concept of trust. I don't even know what that is. I just want to know if the machine works. You feel what I'm saying? But they'll try it on you though. You don't trust me? What about you? You don't trust that I got a good... It's not about that. I just want to see if the machine works. So it's the same thing with religion. When somebody said there's something, it requires you to trust that they are that or not. But if you see them for what they are, they don't need no trust. Literally. That's why I even tell people, don't trust me. Be clear within yourself about who you are and what you want to do. You follow what I'm saying? Because that's what reality is going to be. It's going to be what you're clear about and what you want to do. Trust somebody saying, okay, this is a good person. There's nothing good or bad outside of what you want to create. Y'all know what I'm saying? What's good is what you want to create. Nothing else. There's no nice little sweet book that just say this is all goodness. Because you can have a good idea and somebody can come to you and say, no, that's bad. We talk about changing our communities. Drug dealers can come and say, well, I think that's a bad idea. That y'all going to put this information out and wake the people up. The drug dealers can then say, I don't really want you to do that. But you were doing what was good for you. But you could ask the drug dealers, what do you think would be good for our community? And they say, I would think if we brought more crack in. And if you're really democratic, you'd be like, well, now that's a good point. You understand what I'm making? You got a board meeting, you got the drug dealers sitting there. And you say, how can we make our community better? And then one of them just got the heart and come out and say, I think we should bring more crack in. And you got to write it down because it's Robert's Rules of Law. Well, that's a good position, sir. I thank you for your input. So my point is, what's good, it's what you are choosing to create. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? That's what is good. I might not agree with what you're choosing to create. You see the point I'm making? Somebody else might not agree with what you're choosing to create. That's irrelevant. What you're choosing to create is your good. You follow what I'm making? Some people say, well, I'm a maniac, and I want to kill people. Is that good? I've had people ask me that before, literally. They said, I want to kill people. Would that be good? That's perfectly good. Well, why would I tell him that? Because just because it's his good, it's not mine. You feel what I'm making? I'm not worried about him killing me because I didn't create that for myself. So I'm not going to allow myself to be killed. You follow what I'm making? But I still can say what you want to do is good. Because some people, of all the nightmare movies they watch, they could think of no better end for themselves than to get killed by a maniac. You understand what I'm making? Well, they be like, man, what a way to go. They watch all those scary movies and they're like, man, that's might be what happened to me. So my point is that, yes, what you want to create is what is good. Anything else is being dishonest with yourself. Give you an example. When people saying, okay, if me wanting to kill people, is that good? Is that really good? And you say, well, look, if I told you that it wasn't, and that's what you wanted to do, it wouldn't matter. Do you follow what I'm making? Even if I wanted to protect all of humanity from such insanity, wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. And you could be a hypocrite and still be killing people. I'm like, yeah, well, that's wrong to kill people and still be killing them. You feel what I'm making? Kill them softly. Kill them under the auspices of religion. You know what I'm saying? Kill them under the auspices of justice. Say, well, you know what? I'm not going to even kill people. Since you told me it's not good to kill, I'm just going to become a police officer. I'm going to become a judge. You see the point I'm making? Or matter of fact, I'll be a doctor. So it doesn't really matter. Because that's us getting caught up. They get us caught up into the social reality. So we literally have become scared and afraid of people and what they can do. But our fear doesn't protect us from them. So that's what I'm saying. I don't care what somebody's religion is. Nor do they have to fit into a box of this concept for me. I'll deal with reality where it is. That's what being a God of gods is. Able to deal with reality as it is. Because even if you fit stuff into those little boxes to make things look neat to you, stuff come out of them boxes. And if you're not ready to deal with reality, you ain't going to be able to handle it. Because you said, man, I thought this person was a Muslim. I mean, some people really lost their mind. Because they saw this person thinking they was a Muslim, and this person did something so opposite or out the box that they never returned. The person who saw it never returned. Because their paradigm was really shifted. Because they was living in a lie anyway, in an illusion. So why not just look at the reality? I have people, brothers, say he was a Muslim a long time. I'll give you an example because I talk a lot from experiences. And he was a devout Muslim. I said, well, if you're going to be a Muslim, it must be good to be a devout Muslim. This brother would chant Allah all day, every day. He would just chant all night. He would run out the house and just run down the street and just chant Allah at 5 o'clock in the morning. Do you understand the point I'm making?